Let's be real. Modern dating can feel like emotional gymnastics. One day he's texting you nonstop, the next, radio silence. And suddenly you're spiraling, replaying every conversation, wondering what went wrong. You start questioning why men pull away, wondering how to make him miss you, and maybe even blaming yourself. But here's the truth. You don't need to chase love. You need to attract it. This is relationship advice for women who are tired of confusion and ready for clarity. These dating tips for women aren't about games. They're about female empowerment in relationships, understanding men, building self-love and confidence, healing from toxic relationship recovery, and embodying a high-value woman mindset that naturally commands respect. So if you've ever found yourself asking, why do I keep ending up in the same situations? This conversation is for you. Let's get honest. Let's get empowered. And let's rewrite your love story. You've got to stop confusing attention with intention. This one shift alone will save you years of emotional exhaustion, heartbreak, and disappointment. See, attention feels good. It's intoxicating. When someone starts giving you constant messages, flirty emojis, late-night calls, it feels like connection. It feels like possibility. You start imagining what could be instead of seeing what is. But intention is a completely different energy. Intention has direction. It's consistent. It's not here to make you feel high today and invisible tomorrow. A man with intention doesn't make you wonder. He doesn't disappear when things get real. He doesn't breadcrumb you just enough to keep you hooked. He's clear about what he wants, and you feel it through his actions, not just his words. When you confuse attention for intention, you give your emotional energy to uncertainty. You start building a story around fragments. You cling to moments of sweetness and ignore the gaps. You replay the texts, the compliments, the gestures, convincing yourself it means more than it actually does. You see, women often fall for potential, not presence. You fall for how he could treat you instead of how he is treating you. And it's because attention taps into something primal. It gives you validation. It makes you feel chosen. But here's what you need to understand. Being chosen temporarily is not the same as being valued deeply. Attention without intention is manipulation, even when it's unintentional. It keeps you emotionally invested while he gets to enjoy the perks of your affection without the responsibility of your heart. So, how do you tell the difference? Watch the follow-through. Anyone can text you good morning. Very few will show up when it matters. Anyone can say they miss you. Few will make the effort to see you. Words are easy. Effort is everything. The man who truly wants you won't keep you guessing. He won't keep you stuck in analysis mode, wondering, what did I do wrong? He'll make you feel safe, seen, and valued. Not just on the good days, but on the quiet, ordinary ones too. And you have to hold yourself accountable here too. Because sometimes you're not confused. You're just ignoring what's clear. You see the inconsistency, but you keep hoping it will change. You keep telling yourself stories like, he's just busy, or he's been hurt before. You start doing emotional gymnastics to justify his lack of effort. But deep down, you always know. You're just scared of accepting it. Because accepting it means admitting this isn't it. But that's where your power lies. When you stop feeding off attention and start demanding intention, you change the entire dynamic. You stop auditioning for love and start embodying it. You raise your vibration. You stop settling for mixed signals and half-hearted effort because you realize that peace feels better than potential ever will. And that brings me to the second truth. You have to stop chasing. Stop chasing and start choosing. This is the biggest emotional shift you can make in your love life. Chasing comes from fear. It comes from a deep-rooted belief that if you don't pursue, if you don't keep showing interest, if you don't prove your worth, someone else will take your place. But the reality is, when you chase, you step out of your power. You start operating from anxiety instead of confidence. You begin performing for approval instead of standing in your truth. You morph into what you think will keep him interested rather than being your authentic self. And you know what's worse? Chasing gives the wrong people access to your energy. It teaches them that they don't have to meet you halfway, because you'll do the running for both of you. You'll compromise your boundaries, your standards, your peace, just to avoid losing them. But here's the irony. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you start attracting what's real. Because genuine connection can't be forced. It has to be mutual. And when a man truly wants you, he doesn't make you chase him. He meets you where you are. He invests effort, consistency, and clarity. You never have to guess his intentions, because his actions speak louder than your doubts. Choosing, on the other hand, is rooted in self-respect. It's about discernment. It's about looking at someone's energy, their consistency, their emotional availability, and saying, does this align with the love I deserve? Choosing means you're not waiting to be picked. You're doing the picking. You're no longer driven by fear of rejection, but by clarity about your worth. You stop asking, does he like me? And start asking, do I even like him? Does he bring peace to my life or chaos? This is the kind of shift that transforms you from anxious to empowered. Because the moment you choose yourself first, you raise your frequency. You send a message to the universe that says, I am no longer available for inconsistent love. And when you truly embody that energy, the wrong men lose interest, and that's a blessing. Because your time, your energy, your softness, those are sacred. They're not meant for people who treat your heart like an option. When you chase, you shrink. You become reactive instead of intuitive. You abandon your center to follow someone else's lead. But when you choose, you expand. You anchor yourself in your values. You start seeing red flags as stop signs instead of challenges to overcome. You stop negotiating your worth in the name of keeping someone who doesn't even know what to do with your love. And I know this is hard, especially when you've invested time, emotion, and hope. But here's the truth. You can't attract the love you want from the place that broke you. You have to shift. You have to rise. You have to start living as the woman who knows she's already complete. That's what choosing looks like. It's not about arrogance. It's about awareness. It's about saying, I'm not chasing anything anymore. Because what's meant for me won't need to be hunted down. It will meet me at my level. So, stop confusing attention for intention, and stop chasing what's not choosing you. The love you deserve isn't found in chaos. It's found in calm. It's not found in waiting. It's found in walking away from anything that doesn't align with your worth. Because when you start living like the prize you are, you stop being afraid of losing anyone, and start being afraid of losing yourself again. Healing before you date isn't just about taking time off. It's about rebuilding your emotional foundation, so you stop attracting pain that feels familiar. Most women don't realize they're dating from their wounds. You think you're ready because the loneliness has faded, or because someone new makes you feel seen again. But the truth is, unhealed parts of you are still driving the car. They're the ones deciding who you're drawn to, what you tolerate, and how you show up. If you still crave validation from people who treat you like an option, that's not love. It's your wound looking for closure. You can't build something healthy on top of what's still broken. You can't expect a new relationship to fill the void left by an old one. That's your work to do. Healing means you stop needing someone to fix what they didn't break. Healing means sitting with yourself long enough to ask, what have I been avoiding? Maybe it's the heartbreak you never processed, the betrayal you brushed under the rug because you didn't want to seem bitter, the self-blame you carry for staying too long in a place that starved you emotionally. It's painful to face that. It's uncomfortable to admit that the person you need saving from is the one you keep choosing. But until you do that work, you'll keep repeating the same story, just with different faces. When you heal, you become emotionally fluent. You start recognizing triggers for what they are instead of reacting blindly. You stop mistaking anxiety for excitement. You no longer chase people who mirror your pain. You start gravitating toward people who match your peace. Healing is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming aware. It's about saying, I know what broke me, but I'm not going to live from that brokenness anymore. It's about forgiving yourself for the versions of you that didn't know better, for the times you ignored red flags, begged for clarity, or accepted less because you thought that's all there was. Healing is an act of self-respect. It's saying, I deserve to show up whole, not wounded. I deserve to love without fear, not from survival. And when you reach that point, dating changes. You stop overanalyzing. You stop obsessing over why someone ghosted you. You stop trying to decode behavior that doesn't make sense. You simply say, that's not aligned with me, and you move on. Because healed energy doesn't chase chaos. It protects peace. But that peace only stays if you protect it through boundaries. And that's where matching effort, not excuses, comes in. Because once you've healed, you see clearly how low the bar has been. You start realizing how often you've been the one holding everything together, excusing behavior that drained you just because you were afraid of losing someone. You start to notice how you've been doing all the emotional labor, initiating conversations, fixing misunderstandings, giving chances that weren't earned. And you finally say, no more. Because when you've healed, your heart isn't desperate anymore. It's discerning. Matching effort means you stop overextending yourself for people who don't reciprocate. You give energy where it's returned. You stop investing in potential and start investing in patterns. You don't fall for promises. You pay attention to consistency. You watch how a person shows up when it's inconvenient, when you need support, when communication gets tough. That's when character shows itself. Someone who's truly interested won't just talk about wanting you, they'll prove it. They'll show up. They'll prioritize you without being asked. And you won't have to wonder if you're too much or not enough because the right person will match your rhythm, not resist it. You can't build a real relationship on excuses. Every time you accept one, you lower your standard a little more. You start teaching them that you'll tolerate inconsistency as long as they throw you just enough breadcrumbs to keep you hoping. But you deserve more than breadcrumbs. You deserve a full meal. Excuses sound like, "I've just been busy," or, "I'm not good at texting," or, "I'm not ready for anything serious right now." And you listen, because you want to believe there's potential. But let me be honest, potential is not commitment. And someone who truly wants to be with you won't let excuses get in the way of showing up. When you stop accepting excuses, you reclaim your time and your energy. You stop getting stuck in cycles that lead nowhere. You stop chasing clarity from people who benefit from your confusion. You start realizing that silence is an answer, inconsistency is a message, and mixed signals are a form of emotional manipulation. You no longer need closure because you understand that someone's effort, or lack of it, is closure enough. You stop trying to prove your worth and start expecting reciprocity. Because love should never feel like a job interview where you have to keep proving you're good enough to stay. Here's the truth. The right man will never make you question if you're wanted. He will never make you beg for consistency. He will never let you carry the relationship on your back while he contributes only when it's convenient. The right man's effort will feel like calm. It will feel like certainty. And the beautiful part, you won't even have to ask for it. It will be natural because his intention will match your energy. And when you finally experience that kind of dynamic, it's almost shocking. You realize how much unnecessary chaos you tolerated in the past. You start to wonder why you ever fought so hard for half-hearted effort. That's what healing does. It recalibrates your standards. It reminds you that love isn't supposed to drain you. It's supposed to sustain you. And once you've tasted peace, you'll never settle for confusion again. So, heal first. Make peace with your past. Learn what patterns keep showing up. Then, when you step into the dating world again, walk in as a woman who knows what she deserves. Match effort. Don't chase, don't justify, don't settle. Because your healed self knows that you don't need to beg for the love you're meant to receive. You just need to stop entertaining the ones who only give enough to keep you hoping. That's how you attract someone whose energy matches your healed heart. Someone who shows up not just to get attention, but to build intention. That's where real love begins. You've got to stop mistaking comfort for compatibility. This one truth is what keeps so many women stuck in almost relationships, half-lived connections, and emotionally flat partnerships that feel safe but suffocating. Comfort feels easy because it's familiar. It's the silence that doesn't challenge you, the routine that doesn't push you, the conversations that skim the surface. But comfort can also be the biggest trap. It makes you think you're happy when you're really just numb. You tell yourself, "He's not that bad," or, "At least I know what to expect." But deep down, there's this quiet ache inside of you whispering, "This isn't it." You stay because it feels safe. You stay because it doesn't hurt like before. You stay because the chaos you once knew has been replaced with predictability, and that feels like progress. But safety without connection isn't love, it's survival. Compatibility is about growth, alignment, shared values, and emotional reciprocity. Comfort is about familiarity. Compatibility challenges you in healthy ways. It stretches you. It inspires you to evolve. Comfort keeps you in a holding pattern, repeating the same emotional loops, convincing yourself that peace means you've found your person. But peace built on emotional disconnection isn't real. It's avoidance. Think about it. How many times have you stayed in a relationship that wasn't fulfilling simply because it felt stable? You weren't excited, you weren't growing, but you told yourself you should be grateful it wasn't toxic. But here's the truth. Being unfulfilled is its own kind of toxicity. It eats away at your self-worth, your confidence, your spark. You start losing pieces of yourself slowly, quietly, over time. You stop dreaming. You stop expecting passion or effort. You stop asking for more because more has started to feel unreasonable. But it's not unreasonable, it's necessary. You were never meant to shrink inside a relationship just to keep it peaceful. Compatibility means you feel safe and alive. It's when your values align, your communication flows, and your emotional needs are met, not dismissed. It's when you can be fully yourself without walking on eggshells or suppressing your truth. It's when you both have individual growth and still choose each other every day. If you can't be real with your partner, if you have to water yourself down to keep things easy, that's not compatibility. That's self-abandonment. Sometimes what you call comfort is really fear. Fear of starting over, fear of being alone, fear of not finding better. You tell yourself you've invested too much time to walk away. But time doesn't equal connection. History doesn't equal harmony. And staying in something that no longer feeds your soul doesn't make you loyal. It makes you stuck. Growth will always feel uncomfortable at first, but that's the discomfort of transformation. It's the stretching of your spirit into something bigger, freer, more aligned. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. So if you feel stagnant, restless, uninspired, that's not a sign to settle. That's your intuition begging you to move. And moving brings us to one of the hardest truths. You cannot be afraid to walk away. I know that sounds simple, but emotionally, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. Walking away isn't about anger or punishment. It's about reclaiming your power. It's saying, I will no longer participate in something that asks me to betray myself. It's realizing that holding on to what's not right for you won't magically make it right. And it's understanding that love doesn't always mean staying. Sometimes, the most powerful form of love is letting go. You've been conditioned to believe that walking away means failure. That if you just tried harder, gave more, forgave more, it could work. But relationships aren't saved by overextending yourself. They're built on mutual effort. You can't carry the emotional weight for two. You can't love someone into changing. And you certainly can't find peace in a place that requires you to constantly prove your worth. When you finally accept that, something inside you shifts. You stop begging to be chosen. You stop hoping for potential. You stop waiting for someone to realize your value. And you start acting like you already know it. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't love them. It means you loved yourself enough to know you deserve more. It means you're no longer settling for lukewarm love or conditional affection. It means you're done confusing endurance with devotion. Love isn't meant to drain you. It's meant to support you. The right person won't make you beg for attention or clarity. They won't disappear when things get hard. They won't make you question if you're good enough. They'll meet you, effort for effort, heart for heart, and yes, walking away hurts. There's a grief that comes with it. The loss of what could have been, the dreams you built around them, the pieces of yourself you left in that relationship. But that pain is temporary. The pain of staying in the wrong relationship lasts a lifetime. The moment you choose yourself, you begin to rebuild. You begin to breathe again. You start sleeping peacefully at night because you're no longer trying to force something that was never meant to fit. That's freedom. That's what reclaiming your power feels like. And here's the most beautiful part. Once you've walked away from what doesn't serve you, life starts to open up. Opportunities, connections, experiences, they start aligning in ways you couldn't see before. Because when you were stuck in something that drained you, there was no room for better to come in. But now, you've made space. You've created energetic alignment for something healthier, deeper, more authentic. So stop confusing comfort with compatibility. Don't let the illusion of safety keep you in something that silences your joy. And don't ever be afraid to walk away when your peace is on the line. The moment you choose peace over patterns, your entire world shifts. Because walking away isn't giving up. It's leveling up. It's the moment you stop surviving love and start deserving it. It's when you finally say, I am no longer available for halfway love. That's when the universe responds. When your energy elevates and when you become magnetic to the kind of love that never asks you to lose yourself. Again, keeping your standards high while keeping your heart open is the balance that separates women who settle from women who attract exactly what they deserve. Most people get this wrong. They think having standards means being hard to please or cold-hearted. But real standards aren't about arrogance. They're about alignment. They're about clarity. They're about knowing who you are, what you need, and what kind of love actually supports your peace, not disturbs it. The problem is, so many of us lower our standards because we're afraid. Afraid that if we hold them too high, no one will meet them. Afraid that being too picky will make us end up alone. So we bend, we compromise, We let things slide that don't sit right in our gut. We tell ourselves, no one's perfect. But lowering your standards doesn't bring love, it brings lessons. Painful, repetitive lessons that teach you exactly why you should have trusted yourself in the first place. Having high standards doesn't mean you expect perfection. It means you refuse to tolerate emotional laziness. It means you don't entertain people who make excuses instead of effort. It means you no longer accept inconsistency disguised as mystery. When someone is right for you, you won't have to chase clarity. It will feel natural, grounded, and reciprocal. The right connection won't leave you questioning your worth. It will remind you of it. Your standards are your boundaries dressed in confidence. They're your way of protecting your peace, your time, and your heart. When you keep them high, you're not pushing love away. You're filtering out everything that's not ready for you. But here's the key. You must keep your heart open while you hold those standards. Because if you let past pain harden you, you'll block the very thing you want. You can be strong and still be soft. You can have boundaries without building walls. You can say, no, this isn't for me, without shutting down emotionally. A guarded heart can't receive love. It's too busy trying to avoid hurt. You have to trust yourself enough to open up again, knowing that you have the emotional tools to walk away if it doesn't serve you. That's real strength. That's emotional maturity. It's not about being untouchable. It's about being unshakable. Staying open means you still believe in love, even after being disappointed. It means you can look at people through clear eyes, not cynical ones. You've learned the difference between being naive and being hopeful. Hope doesn't mean ignoring red flags. It means trusting that there's still good out there. And there is, but you'll never experience it if you're too afraid to open your heart again. When you heal, when you raise your standards, when you protect your peace, love starts to find you in unexpected ways. It might not come when or how you expect it, but it will come. And when it does, it won't feel like guessing or tension. It'll feel like exhale. And all of that starts with the last, most powerful truth. You have to love yourself the way you want him to love you. I know that sounds simple, but it's everything. You set the tone for how others treat you by the way you treat yourself. If you constantly ignore your own needs, people will too. If you speak to yourself harshly, you'll attract people who criticize you. If you abandon yourself every time someone gives you crumbs of affection, you're teaching the world that your love comes cheap. But when you start honoring your emotions, when you validate your own worth, when you choose yourself even when it's hard, you become magnetic. Because self-love isn't just bubble baths and affirmations, it's self-discipline. It's holding yourself accountable for staying in situations that deplete you. It's making choices that reflect respect for your own energy. Loving yourself doesn't mean you never feel lonely or uncertain. It means you don't let those feelings drive your decisions anymore. You can be lonely and still not go back to what broke you. You can miss someone and still know they're not good for you. You can crave love and still refuse to settle for less than what you deserve. That's what true self-love looks like. It's strength disguised as grace. It's walking away quietly when something feels wrong instead of trying to fix it. It's looking in the mirror and saying, I am already enough. Because the moment you start living like that, the whole world shifts. You start radiating a different energy, an energy that attracts respect, devotion, and depth. Here's the thing. When you love yourself, you stop chasing validation. You stop asking, why doesn't he see my worth? Because you see it. You stop trying to prove you're lovable, because you already know you are. You stop begging for effort because you've raised your own. You've become the example of how you deserve to be treated. And that changes everything. People start mirroring that energy back to you. Relationships feel easier, communication flows better, and the emotional games stop, because they can't survive in the presence of someone who's rooted in self-worth. Loving yourself also means nurturing the little things that make you, you. You start prioritizing your joy again, your hobbies, your passions, your peace. You stop waiting for someone to choose you and start choosing yourself every single day. You start showing up for yourself in the way you've always wanted someone else to. That energy, self-respecting, radiant, calm, is what draws real love in. Because people who are secure in themselves don't play games. They don't manipulate. They don't drain you. They meet you where you are, because they too know what it means to love from wholeness instead of hunger. And that's the truth. When you become whole, you stop looking for someone to complete you. You start looking for someone who complements you. You stop begging for love and start embodying it. And that's when you realize the kind of love you've been chasing all along was never about someone else. It was about you. It was about the version of you who finally realized that her love story starts within. The woman who knows her worth, keeps her standards high, stays open to love, and loves herself fiercely. She doesn't settle. She attracts. She doesn't chase. She chooses. She doesn't fear being alone because she knows solitude is where she grows. When you reach that level of self-connection, everything changes. You no longer lose yourself in love, you expand in it. You no longer chase people. You attract energy that matches yours. You no longer confuse attention with affection, comfort with connection, or lust with love. You become the kind of woman who no longer needs to prove she's worthy. She simply is. Because the love you've been searching for begins the moment you start giving it to yourself first. Now, I want you to pause and really think. Which one of these truths hit you the hardest? Which one do you need to start living today? Not someday, not next week, today. Because this isn't just about dating. It's about reclaiming your peace, your power, your worth. If this message spoke to you, drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your story. Like this video if it resonated, share it with another woman who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe for more real, unfiltered relationship advice. And before you go, tell me, what topic do you want me to dive into next? Because this is your space, your journey, and your transformation. Let's grow together.